In this last video, we're going to look at calculating angles using arcs when the vertex of our angle is outside of our circle. So we've done central angles, we've done inscribed angles where the vertex is on the circle, we've done chords where the two chords cross inside the circle, and this last one we're going to do has our vertex outside the circle. And if that's the case, we are going to take our big arc. So if we follow the edges of our angle, so our angle starts here, if we follow these sides, in between those two sides are two arcs. There's this arc on the outside and this smaller arc on the inside. So what we're going to do, and it has three different looks. If we have two secants, then there's actually four parts or four arcs. We're going to use these two that are in between the two sides of our angle. If we have two tangents, then there's really only two arcs, our major arc and our minor arc. And these are going to be the two arcs that we use because there's only two. So we're going to take that one and that one. And then our last one, we have a secant and a tangent. So there's 1, 2, 3 arcs. And the key to these is always finding the right two arcs. So it's always the two arcs that are in between the two sides that make up our angle. And again, if we look at using that straight line that goes through from our angle, right, the two arcs that it crosses through are the two arcs we're going to subtract. So we're going to take our bigger arc minus the measure of our smaller arc, and then we're going to divide that by 2. All right, when it was inside, we added the two arcs and divided by 2. This time we're going to subtract the two arcs and divide by 2. So my two arcs, my big arc is the 243. We're going to subtract our small arc, which is 105, and then we're going to divide that by 2. So 243 minus 105 is 138, and then we're going to divide that by 2. So this angle would be 69 degrees, 138 divided by 2. All right, so over here, the two arcs that we need, if we follow our sides of our angle, they're going to be the 117 minus the other one that's in between, so minus the 43, divide that by 2. So that makes 74 divided by 2, which makes 37 degrees. So our angle is 37 degrees outside. All right, this one is made up of our two tangents, which means we really only have two, and you're only given one arc to find this angle. So the first thing that we need to do is we're going to have to find this angle or this arc over here. So we need to know our major arc. So we got to go back and remember our major arc and our minor arc add up to 360. So if I wanted to find this, I need to start by taking 360 and subtracting the 78. So that leaves us 282. But the 282, we have to keep track of what we just found. That was our major arc over here. Now we're going to take our big arc. So now we're going to take the 282 minus our small arc, which was the 78, and we're going to divide that by 2. So 278 divided by, or minus 78 gives us, what does that give us? 204 degrees. We're going to divide that by 2. So our angle is going to be 102 degrees. All right, so we have one more that looks like that with the double tangents again. So the first thing we have to do is we have to find our other arc. So our major and our minor add up to 360. So we're going to take 360 and subtract our 227. So that makes this minor arc over here 133 degrees. Now we have to take our big arc. So now we're going to take our 227 minus our 133. So that leaves us 94. And then we have to divide that by 2. So our angle out here is 47. So on these double tangent ones, you have to subtract twice. You need to find the other arc first, and then subtract the 2 arcs and divide it by 2. All right, so a quick summary of all the different things we've done. For our central angle, all right, our vertex is at the center of the circle. Our angle and our arc have the same number of degrees. In our inscribed circle, our inscribed angles, our vertex is on the circle, and remember this also holds true for the ones that look like this. All right, just anywhere where your vertex is on the circle, the angle we're going to take the arc and divide by 2, or we're going to take the angle and multiply by 2 to get the arc. Then we have ours where our vertex is inside the circle but not at the center. So we have these 2 vertical angles that are equal. So those 2 angles are equal, but our 2 arcs aren't. So we're going to average those. So we're going to add our 2 arcs together and divide by 2. And then in our last one over here, where our vertex is outside of the circle, we are going to take our big arc minus our small arc and divide it by 2. So what you're going to do is, in your notes, you are going to do a quick review of all of these different things, and you're going to answer these questions. Then when you're finished, you can turn the video back on and check your answers. All right, so for this one, our vertex is inside. So when it's inside, we're doing arc plus arc divided by 2. So we're going to take 116 plus 140 and divide it by 2. So that gives us 256 divided by 2. So our x is going to equal 128 degrees. For our second one, we're going to take our vertexes outside, so it's arc minus arc divided by 2. So 108 minus 34 makes 74 divided by 2. So on this one, we have 37 degrees. For number 3, our vertex is on the circle, so it's just half of the arc. The problem on this one is, though, our angle doesn't match our arc. So the first thing we have to do is find the arc we need. So we're taking 360 minus 248, which leaves us 112 for this angle, and then we have to take our 112 and divide it by 2. So we get 56 degrees for this one. All right, our next 3, our vertex is inside the circle, so we're going to take our arc plus our arc and divide it by 2. So that gives us 94 divided by 2, which is 47. So this gets us x, and then x and y should be supplementary. They fit together to make that linear pair. So these two make a line. So to find y, we're going to take 180 minus our 117. So we end up with 63 degrees for y. For number 5, our vertex is outside of the circle, so I need arc minus arc. The only problem is I don't know what that arc is. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is find this little arc in here. And all 4 of my arcs should add up to 360. So the 3 arcs I have so far add up to 320 degrees, I believe. So 209 plus 111 makes 320. So that means that this little arc here is 40 degrees. So now I'm going to take my two arcs, my 111 minus my 40, and divide it by 2. So I have 71 divided by 2, which makes, and this one comes out to be a fraction, and that's fine. So 35.5 degrees for x. All right, then our last one, our vertex is on the circle, so it's just half of the arc. So this one would be 80 degrees. All right, our last three, our vertex is outside, so we need to do arc minus arc, and remember it has to be the arcs that are in between our two sides of our angle, so in between these two rays. So that's the 119, but I don't know this one. Again, my three